Hello everyone, my name is Jimmy and welcome to The Last Lap. In today's video we're going to be giving a prediction slash preview video for this upcoming NASCAR Cup Series weekend at Atlanta Motor Speedway. The Trucks and Xfinity Series are also racing, so we're going to talk about all that stuff. We're also going to talk about some news that has come out over the past few weeks as well as a rumor that's supposedly coming out in a few weeks about the schedule for next year, so make sure you guys stay tuned for all of that. But before we hop into the video, just want to remind you guys to hit that like button and subscribe button, and check us out on our social media pages at The Last Lap in News. And as always, I have to introduce my friend and co-host Matthew joining me on the show, and it's good that we're finally doing another preview video. It feels like it's been a while, so Matthew has a feel to be back and going, the Cup Series at least, going back to Atlanta, quote-unquote, Superspeedway.
Well, it's going to be an interesting weekend back at what is now called Atlanta Superspeedway, since it races like one now, so we might as well call it that. So we'll see how this race goes this weekend, and also the Truck Series will be at Mid-Ohio this weekend, which used to be the Xfinity Series race, but now is for the Truck Series this year. So we'll see how that race goes this weekend as well.
Alright, so we're going to go ahead and hop into the news section of this video. So there's three things on our list that we're going to talk about today. The first of which coming out, I believe, it came out today, Wednesday, and that is that Noah Gragson he actually got a penalty for his actions at Road America, dumping Sage Karam on the backstretch, and obviously triggering that huge wreck involving many cars. The penalty is 30 points and a $35,000 fine. For me, I'm honestly surprised that NASCAR did something about this. Usually, when drivers retaliate on track, there's usually nothing involved. But I looked at Twitter, the good people on Twitter, like Bob Pockers and Jeff Gluck and all those guys, and they were saying that the cause of this is probably because there were so many cars involved in the incident, whereas if we see like one-on-one retaliation, we don't really see drivers get parked or fined or anything for it. In my opinion, I believe NASCAR probably should have parked him for the rest of the race and did this penalty. Maybe increase the points a little bit more and the fine a little bit more as well. 30 points and a $35,000 fine is kind of like a slap at the wrist, honestly, but at least they did come out with some type of penalty for that situation. I do think that retaliation was a little bit too far because it did involve several other cars on the racetrack. Another piece of news is that Christopher Bell and Bubba Wallace are switching a few of their pit crew members back and forth. I believe it's the front tire changer and front tire carrier for both teams. It'll be switching sides, so hopefully that can benefit both teams. I know Bubba has had quite the troublesome pit road scenarios this year, so hopefully that can benefit him, and hopefully the guys from him that go to Christopher Bell's crew adapt well, and there's no issues with Christopher Bell's crew now, and hopefully both crews are good. So glad to see that happen. Hopefully that resolves any issues there. And the final thing is a rumor that could be coming out in just a few weeks about the schedule next year. Matthew brought this to my attention right before we started recording, but apparently there's a rumor that the Chicago Street Course will be on the schedule for next year. There's supposed to be an announcement in a few weeks regarding the schedule, and apparently that is part of it. So it's just a rumor as of now, but it's like a leaked rumor kind of thing. So if this does end up happening, I'm all for it. I think it's a great opportunity for NASCAR. They've been very adamant about changing the schedule the past few years with the LA Coliseum, adding new road courses, going to Nashville, doing Bristol Dirt, all these different changes. So I think it's a great opportunity, especially in a big city like Chicago. So hopefully, if that rumor does become true, then they could set up the Chicago Street Course for some time. I'm assuming it would probably take one of the road course slots on the schedule. I'm not sure which one, or maybe it won't. I don't know. But hopefully that does happen. I'm all for it. I think it would be a great opportunity for NASCAR to do that. They tried it with the iRacing thing, and that's how they did the thing with Atlanta, too, the new Atlanta. They tested it with iRacing and all of that. So if Atlanta Superspeedway was a success, I'm pretty sure Chicago Street Course would be a success, too, with all the technology they have to create these things on iRacing and transfer them to real life. So That's it for the news section part of this video. I'm going to go ahead and let Matthew go ahead and say his thoughts on all of these news topics throughout this week that just came out.
Alright, so I want to go ahead and talk about this Noah Gragson penalty that just came out. I have no problem with the penalty that was received. My only big issue was why they did not do anything to him when that incident happened on race day. They took basically like 3-4 days to figure out what to penalize him. In my opinion, they should have parked him. I mean, look, I know the whole Rubbins racing thing and stuff. We saw like Matt Kenseth do that at Logano. We saw Jeff Gordon do that to Clint Boyer over the years. But, I mean, Noah Gragson basically just took out someone on purpose on a high speed part of the racetrack. Not only caused a 13-car pileup, but also injured a driver. Thankfully, though, it sounds like he's going to be okay. He's going to race back this weekend, Brandon Brown, but it could have been much worse. And for him to be able to just continue racing after that is absolutely unacceptable. They should have parked him, and they should fine him, which I'm glad they did, and took points away, which I'm glad they did. But they should have done something on race day, so that's my issue about that. And then as for the Christopher Bell and Bubba Wallace pit crew swap, finally this is happening. Look, Bubba Wallace, I feel like he has speed, especially in the mile and a half and bigger tracks. We saw him run top 10 at Kansas. We saw him run top 5 at the Coca-Cola 600. We saw him run top 10 at Nashville. But every single time, that pit crew always ruined his race. And it's about time they finally did something. Now, I do feel bad for Christopher Bell because he's literally 16th in the playoff grid. And now we got a Superspeedway race coming up this weekend. That could likely move him out if we get another different winner, which could happen. And I mean, I'm going to feel bad for him if that pit crew starts messing up for him, but it's about time they made a change with Bubba Wallace's pit crew, and I'm hopefully they show more better results now that they made this change, which I'm confident now, since he has shown a lot of speed on these mile and a half bigger tracks. I mean, Kurt Busch literally won Kansas, so that 2311 has stepped it up there. And as for the rumor of the Chicago street course, it sounds like it's probably going to happen. It's just a matter of time when it's announced. And I've always been a big supporter of this because this is just like the LA Coliseum. It's bringing racing to the city, bringing racing to the people. Because most of the time, a lot of these fans have to drive an hour or 2 hours or sometimes even 5 hours away where they live at just to go to a NASCAR race. And of course we have to compare this to Formula One, where a lot of their street courses or road courses, they're literally in the city or just a little bit out of the city. Like of course Montreal, the Canadian Grand Prix, that's literally right beside Montreal. Or the Miami Grand Prix that just happened this year, that's literally in downtown Miami, or a little bit nearby Miami. And then next year they'll be racing in Las Vegas, and that's literally in the city of Las Vegas. So I'm a big supporter of this idea. Now, of course, there's the rumor of Road America that we just raced in. It's going to be taking out the schedule for this. And I do like it that if you're going to put this in, you might as well take a road course out. Don't take out another oval. Keep things balanced. And I do like that. Just take a road course out and replace it with that, so we keep it perfectly balanced. But I really would be disappointed if Road America does get off the schedule, because I think that's a really unique road course with different elevations. I know it hasn't produced like the best racing, like compared to like Circuit Americas or even the Charlotte Roval, who has produced a lot of memorable moments there. I know it hasn't produced like the best road course racing, but it's still a unique road course. I would hate to see it get off the schedule, but that's probably the sacrifice they're going to have to make if they're going to do this street course. So I'm in full support of it, and I cannot wait to see how NASCAR Cup cars look like on the streets.
Yeah, I think Road America is like the most technical road course out there. Like the racing isn't the best because it's like it takes so much to get around that track. Like you have to be so perfect. So that's why we saw Chase Elliott get out to like a 10-second lead, just because like you have to be so skilled and talented to do that road course specifically because it's such a big road course. But yeah, hopefully we can get all of that cleared up about if the Chicago Street Course is coming and what race it will replace. I'm sure that'll happen in a few weeks. But we're going to go ahead and transition into our predictions part of this video. And I do briefly want to show the point standings right now. So Ryan Blaney is in on points by 112 points. Martin Truex Jr. is in by 61. And Christopher Bell is in by 20. And then Kevin Harvick is out by 20. Eric Almirola is out by 47. Eric Jones is out by 85. And we do still have some winners on this, some people on this list that could be potential winners, like Austin Dillon, Michael McDowell, he could win a road course, Justin Haley, Ricky Stenhouse, Bubba Wallace, Brad Keselowski, they could all win at one of these super speedways. Chris Buescher's been fast, so we have a lot of drivers. This playoff grid, it might not look the same in a few weeks, but it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But we're going to go ahead and hop into it. So the trucks, they'll be at Mid-Ohio this week. That'll be Saturday at 1:30. It'll be a doubleheader with the Xfinity Series at Atlanta, which will be at 5 o'clock on Saturday. So it's nice we get a doubleheader on Saturday. I'll be working, unfortunately, so I'll probably miss both of those races. For the Cup Series, Atlanta at 3 o'clock. And I'm going to go over my favorite paint scheme. I just looked at the paint scheme preview. And Alex Bowman is actually driving a really cool paint scheme this week. It's an Ally car, but it's like blue and purple, and it has some lightning on it. It's called the Ally Milestone Chevrolet. So it looks really cool. I didn't pick a different one because I'm sure, Matthew, you already know which one it is. But that Ally car does look pretty cool. I'm excited to see that on track this weekend. But as for a few drivers to look out for this week in Atlanta, it's so tough because it was raced like a super speedway last time we went to Atlanta. But William Byron ended up winning it. I mean, well, William Byron won Daytona, so I guess he is kind of good at these super speedway races. So I'm gonna say look out for the Fords as always at the super speedways. This is treated like one of those racetracks, so I'm just gonna say look out for the Fords like Joey Logano, Austin Cindric, Brad Keselowski. One of my bold predictions of this year was that Austin Cindric would win multiple races this year, so I'm gonna say look out for Austin Cindric in that 2 car. So Matthew, what do you have to say about some people to watch out for this week in Atlanta, and a favorite paint scheme if you have one?
Well, if we're going to go with paint schemes first, I'm going to have to pick Denny Hamlin's Coca-Cola race car. I mean, that car, this is the first time that Denny Hamlin is running the Coca-Cola sponsor. He's been a sponsor with them for ever since he started in Cup Series, and this is the first time it's on his car. Man, that thing looks cool. I cannot wait to see what that looks like on the track. And as for my picks, well, I think we gotta keep an eye out on the 2 Trackhouse cars, Ross Chastain and Daniel Suarez. They literally almost won this race the last time we were there. And I think we gotta keep an eye on those 2. Of course, we gotta keep an eye on Bubba Wallace. He's always so good at these super speedways. He literally almost won the Daytona 500. He was really running side by side with the leader in the last lap until a wreck happened. And we gotta keep an eye on him. Now, as for someone that I'm going to put an underdog right here. I don't consider Bubba Wallace an underdog anymore in these super speedways because I know he's really competitive. I'm not considering that. As for an underdog that could win, and with this super speedway race, anything's possible. I think it would be Chris Buescher if it were the underdog, because RFK has been really strong at these super speedways. I mean, they both won the duels. Both cars won the duels at Daytona, and with Chris Buescher, he's been running competitive lately. I think Chris Buescher has the best chance of winning this race as an underdog.
Yeah, those are all some great options to look out for. Anybody could win this week at Atlanta. It's gonna be a a crazy weekend as always at these super speedways. So the second time they're going to be back to Atlanta with this reconfiguration, so hopefully we get a good show this weekend. But Matthew, do you have any other closing thoughts before we go ahead and wrap this episode up?
I've been impressed with NBC with this coverage so far, especially with the presentation, the commentary. I think they're way better than Fox so far by a landslide, but it's nowhere near close to Formula One good yet, and it never will be. Let's just be honest. Hopefully, since it's in Atlanta this weekend, I'm sure we're gonna have 100 segments of Chase Elliott being in Georgia. I'm sure we'll get a bunch of segments about that for no reason, even though he hasn't won there yet. So I'm prepared for that, and yeah, that's all I'm gonna say.
Hey, every time we go to Atlanta, they gotta talk about Chase Elliott. So hopefully,
which is for no reason at all. They act like he won there, which he hasn't yet.
But he's from there, or well, close to there. It's his home track. But anyways, to actually add on to you, I wasn't able to watch the full Nashville broadcast, the opening NBC coverage for NASCAR, but I was able to watch everything from Road America, and it did look really good so far. So I'm excited to see what they bring the rest of the year. I really like when they do the road courses, when they have different people at different parts of the track calling the race. I think that's like a Watkins Glen thing that they do, but that would be really cool if they did that at all of the road courses. But anyways, let's go ahead and wrap this video up. We hope you all enjoy it. Let us know in the comments below who you're watching out for this weekend at Atlanta. Make sure you stay tuned to our social media channels for updates and when we're going to upload next. But until next time, we will see you guys in our next video.